It's a roguelike game. You can have multiplayer on it. And I'm pretty sure they're doing a playtest pretty soon. And so today, I have the opportunity to interview the game director for the game, Samuel Leonard. There it is. Hey, what's going on, man?
Howdy.
Can you hear me?
Not much. I'm watching your stream. I'm gonna turn it off now, I think.
Okay.
Probably, if that makes sense. Or should I leave it on? I don't
You
know.
probably would turn it off. I would see it to be very confusing. Or at least I
Okay.
would assume so.
All right. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Make sure I get everything else set up. I usually don't ever screen record Discord, so it's a little bit difficult for me to do and set all this up. But I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we should be good to go. Give me actually 1 second. And I can put up some of the background footage that you guys provided about the game, and then you guys will be able to look, for all the viewers here, you'll be able to watch some of the background footage for the game here, and you can just take a look at pretty much everything else going on while we talk about Sworn. I had to open this up in another Discord tab, and I do not want to leak all of my conversations. So, make sure I get all this, and there we go.
Big no-no there.
Uh-huh, yeah, definitely. And so we've got to, and by the way, guys, this is just going to be like raw, straight up. This is just like just raw game footage. Is that right?
Yeah, I actually recorded it like last
Mm-hmm.
night at like 10. I just played the game
Okay.
for half an hour and I sent it to you.
There it
That's
is.
what
Okay.
this is.
Simple enough. And so,
Yeah.
what was your inspiration for making a game like this? I think that we've seen a lot of games like this in the past, and like, what really got you to, be inspired to make something that's similar to this game here?
To our game. So
Yeah.
we sort of started with the players.
Mhm.
We had made our first game, which my team was super tiny. It was just me and two other guys that made our first game, and it was time to move on to the next thing. And at that time, we had made a bunch of discords, and we were talking to a lot of people, and frankly, the three of us were sort of obsessed with roguelikes at the time. It was around the time that Hades came out of early access.
Yeah.
And our sort of main thing was we made our own networking library for the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seemed like too good of an idea, like to not make something similar but multiplayer. So that's really the inception. In terms of the thematic wrapping around it being Camelot,
Yeah.
that didn't get decided until a little bit later on. It was actually something else.
So
For
do
a
you play
while.
as King Arthur, or who do you play as if it's Camelot?
No, you don't play as King Arthur.
Okay.
I don't know how far I want to dive into the story. I
Mhm.
want people to like get it from the game. I think
Figure it
that would
out
be cool.
themselves. I got that.
Yeah, do a little bit of figuring it out for themselves. But no, you don't play as King Arthur, and Arthur is actually sort of the big bad in the
Ooh.
game.
So you gotta kill him.
And yeah. So
Okay.
Arthur's the final boss in the game. That's
Yeah.
not a secret or anything like that. So spoiler alert: who the final boss is
Yeah.
for the time being. But you sort of play as nameless characters for the time being. They do have names. I just don't want to.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't want to overwhelm everyone with what
And so, does
the game
each character
is.
have its own unique buffs? Can each character use, for example, I see there's obviously it seems like there's a fist weapon and a sword. Can the big guy use the sword, and can the small guy use the fist weapons?
No, so the weapons are
Okay.
specific to the characters.
I see.
But each character has 4 unique weapons and 4 unique abilities. So there's four right now. There's 4 characters, 32 weapons, and 32 abilities for you to build your loadout with. We originally had it so that every character could do every weapon, but it was hard to make the animations feel really good. Like we have a really phenomenal animator on our team,
Mm-hmm.
and we are really committed to the look of the game and things just feeling crisp and the game taking itself really seriously. So we ended up deciding to make the weapons sort of character specific,
Yeah.
and then really focus on making the play styles a lot different. Yeah.
What are some of the weapons?
So the starter weapon I'm playing here in this is the sword,
Yeah, yeah.
and then there's a bow staff, chakras,
Mhm.
a great sword, a hammer. There's a cannon, which is pretty cool. Um, if you're playing as a heavy guy, there's gauntlets, which are awesome, which totally changes the way you play. You want to like alternate the bumpers
Mhm.
when you're using it, and it kind of turns into a fighting game instead of I have to rebind my controls when I play with the gauntlets, which is hilarious in order to make it really fun.
Eh,
Um,
Okay.
there's a bunch of different magic themed
Mhm.
weapons. I can list all of them,
Like a fire
but
staff, ice
I'll
gauntlet,
I'll
stuff like
spare
that.
you.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
All right, all that makes sense.
yeah,
And yeah, this is interesting. And so the main one of the really interesting things here is, of course, obviously that you can play it multiplayer. So how does that work? I'm assuming you can play, with somebody that's on your Steam friends list, and you just load in and queue up together, and it goes up to 4 people. Is that right?
yeah. So you can play with someone on your Steam friends list.
Hmm.
You can direct connect to people not on your Steam friends list.
Yeah.
So if you sort of like press escape in the game, there's like a get invite code button. That's not exactly what it is. It's like you
Oh,
click
I
invite
see.
friends, then there's an invite code, and then you can invite people. We really wanted to get around the restriction that Steam recently put in place, where you have to spend $5 on your account to add friends.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a
Because
thing. Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
yeah, I, I I didn't know it was a thing either
Hmm.
until we started playtesting
Yeah.
with people, especially people that have never played games in this genre before.
Right. So they
Um,
never spend any
like
money, and so it's like, oh yeah, by the way.
yeah, yeah, and they couldn't play with each
Hmm.
other. Like in a couple of our playtests, and we are like, huh, this
Yeah.
seems like an issue.
So you can
Um,
play with up to 4 people.
yeah, so you can play with up to 4 people. Um, I think the game is sort of best enjoyed with three right now. If I'm being
Uh-huh.
honest, I know that sounds a little bit weird.
Yeah.
We're still sort of refining things. You know, things are always going to get better and better. But as the visual look gets crisper and crisper, I think it'll be better with the full 4 people. But I think
Yeah.
right now 4 can get a little bit chaotic because some of their player abilities are maybe a little bit larger
Are you
than
gonna have like
sort of
animation,
how I
spell
want them to
effect
be.
culling and stuff like that? I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we call the like non-local players proxies in the game. I don't know
Hmm.
if I'm like getting too far into this. So
Yeah.
this is Big Hazard. I'm the game director on the game, but
Okay.
I'm also a developer.
Hmm.
So I'm like a big individual contributor to the game. But anyways, yeah, we want to do something with how we sort of spatialize sounds for the non-local player and also the effects, so it makes it uh, just more of an enjoyable experience in terms of things not feeling overwhelming.
Yeah.
We're sort of playing with the sound stuff right now, and we're getting to the VFX stuff, but um, that's a lot. It's like an overwhelming thing to even think about. We just finished all this stuff for the announce, which is really exciting, and
Yeah.
I've been enjoying playing it this morning. And now, like the first questions are like, "So, what's coming next?" So,
Well, yeah, yeah. The game's not even out yet, of course. But people can
yeah.
wishlist the game now, though, right?
Uh, okay, so
Yeah, yeah.
This is my only talking point right here.
Okay.
Not only can you wishlist the game right now, you can actually play the game right now
Oh
if you
shit.
follow the
Okay.
link. Yeah, you can play the build that I'm playing in this
Hmm.
B-roll footage. It's free. If you follow the link, it's hub.swarmgame.com. Um, you'll get a beta key.
Hmm.
It's like first come first serve. I'm not going to say exactly how many there are.
Uh-huh.
There's enough, so I think most of, if not all of your viewers, if they went to it, they can just play it right now.
There it is.
People can literally be playing the game and talking about the game while they're watching the interview if they wanted to.
And
Um,
okay. Well, great.
yeah,
So yeah, you can do
so
that. You can play it right now. Awesome. Yeah, if somebody can
yeah.
link it in chat. Can you type it in this Discord chat just so I can spam it in chat?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
do that. Let me get this on my
Okay.
clipboard here real quick.
Yeah, yeah,
I
no
want to make
problem.
sure I don't grab the wrong thing. I have so many like notes open.
Yeah, let me see if this actually works. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. If you use my link, it will work. It's okay. Yeah, no, we're good. I wasn't sure if it went directly to that or not. Yeah, this link will take you directly to it as well.
Yeah, yeah. Your link will take them
Hmm.
there, and we'll know it's from you.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, sure.
because that's important in the real world.
Yeah, no doubt. And so I'm looking right now at like the little heart constellation that you have. Is this
Oh yeah.
effectively your form of like metagame progress between runs?
Yeah. So
Okay.
actually, if you play it, so you'll see there's actually a bunch of different constellations, and
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
like you zoom into one, and then there's these cool sort of like flip nodes that
Hmm.
we made so that you can. There's sort of like a loadout component to it and a permanent progression
We crashed your
part
site,
to
by
it.
the way.
Oh yeah, does
Yeah.
that already have it?
Yeah. How about that?
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
into
welcome.
that.
Uh-huh.
That's not my um issue. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's not
glad
your problem. Yeah.
to
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad to let someone else handle that, and
Hmm.
I'll just laugh about it on
So,
this call with
yeah,
you.
somebody else's problem.
For
Yep.
yeah, for once in the last however many months, something's not my problem.
Yeah, there you go.
Um, so the there's all these different little constellations. There will probably be more in
Hmm.
the full release of the game, which I guess the only other thing I have to say, because I've seen people asking it in your chat about the
Yeah.
release date. So the release date is 20. It's planned 2024, so it's
Oh,
going to come out full this year. If you play this announced build, it only has the first biome, but it has all of the player variety and progression up until this point in it. Um, so you can enjoy all the variety and get a good picture of what the game's going to be like. We made it pretty difficult. I am a big fan of hard games. My favorite game is Sekiro.
okay.
Some
All right. Yeah, I like to
unprompted
hear that.
question, unprompted question there.
So
Um,
is there a difficulty slider in the game, or is it just like one size fits all? People are going to be able to. It's like, there's a difficulty slider in every roguelike game where it's like the more buffs that you get, the more powerful your character is, and that kind of makes it easier. Or is there
yeah.
an actual like activator or something like that?
So right now there isn't in the announced build. That's one of so there's three sort of main things we're adding to
Hmm.
the game between now and the launch. That's one of them.
Yeah.
Um, we have a really cool idea for difficulty. I'm not going to sit here and say that our idea for difficulty is not cool.
Uh huh.
I think it's really cool. I think it's really special. It's something that will probably set us apart from some other games in the genre. Um, it's inspired by there's a custom map in Dota 2 called Aghanim's Labyrinth. For those people that are maybe curious, was the main
Okay.
inspiration for the difficulty system, or the planes difficulty system. Um, the the sort of feeling that I'm trying to trace with the game,
Yeah.
or we. I mean, this isn't me. I
Of
have a really
course.
fantastic team. I obviously could not build this myself. I'm so lucky to have my team. Uh, there's 11 of us. Everybody's watching it right or
How
watching
long have
this
you
right
been making
now.
the game? When did you start developing it?
This is month 19 of production.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
yeah. So, but really, the like first scribbles on the paper
Hmm.
for it were around 30 months ago.
Hmm.
We took that, built like a really tiny little demo and took it to GDC. We connected with a bunch of sort of potential publishers, and then there was some time from that initial little like diorama demo and
Yeah.
talking to people at GDC and getting something more formal, and then getting to like assemble a team.
Hmm.
Uh, it was exactly like that Rick and Morty episode where the
Uh-huh.
entire point is you just start assembling a team. That's what I did for several months.
That's
Which
all
was
you do.
incredible. Yeah,
There it
that's all you
is.
do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, so you guys have the group of
I'm in.
11, and you came up with the idea, and you're talking about difficulty. I actually never played the Dota thing.
Yeah,
How similar would the difficulty be to, like, for example, the heat system in Hades, if you're familiar with that?
yeah. So um, conceptually,
Yeah.
I think the heat system is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's not my personal cup of tea. Um, the I sort of like the game to
Hmm.
present me with like an established challenge more than it being self-driven, like self-directed. Because I played that game, I got the 32 heat like statue trophy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then I like looked up. There was nothing to get after that, so there's not really a reason for me to play it on more difficulty.
Right.
Also, this is not me taking a hit at Hades. Hades is like a masterclass game.
I mean, it's been so inspirational. Like the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
We we learned a lot from playing and watching that game, and there's a lot of other games that have really inspired the gameplay and the art style in this game too.
Yeah.
And I don't think I don't view myself as competing with them. I think just there's space in the world for like a ton of really awesome things. Like I played Hades, I loved it to death for like 40 hours, and like.
So what are some of the other games that you've played?
Cool if there's no one.
Yeah.
What are some of the other games I've played
like
in
games
my
that
life?
some of your favorite games for people to get an idea of like kind of what kind of games are you interested in, what vibes is this game going to have, kind of,
I'm not going to escape the fact that if I'm being honest, I have roughly 20,000 hours in Dota.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that was going to be my career. I thought I was going to play Dota. I tried to drop out of school.
Uh-huh.
My parents were like, no. Get back to school, son.
Wow, I can't relate to that at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so I took that path, and I found a different way to sort of do what I love as my career.
Yeah.
Engage with games, and I'm getting to make something myself. And it was a lot less of a direct path, I would say. But I'm really happy with where I am and the people that I've been.
Did you go to school to make games?
No.
Oh.
I went to school I had a computer science degree.
Okay.
And then I worked at a software company called Red Hat out of college, working on operating system software. And then I started the company with my best friend, who also was from Austin.
Oh, yeah.
And he actually had more of the gaming background.
Yeah.
He worked on Wizard 101 and League of Legends.
Oh, wow.
And he, funny enough, is more of the business guy. We always have to like explain when we meet new people that I'm the guy that makes the games, and he's the business guy, because sometimes it's a little confusing. But I had no like formal game, development education. It's been like trial by fire, but we started this company like 6.5 years ago. I've been doing this, so I have a fair amount of experience on my own. I think there's a lot of really great inspirational developers out there to learn from. So I definitely didn't make it here. I mean, I haven't made it anywhere yet, but
Right.
we didn't make this game without people's help and guidance.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And I'm curious, like, so you said you made the company 6.5 years ago, is that right? And then how many games have you made already?
So we have one other game out on Steam.
Okay.
It's called Enemy on Board. It was actually reviewed pretty well. Myself and the two people that started the company made it. It's just the three of us. And that was our first project. Like, we really put our hearts and souls into it. Every developer is going to say that about games
sure.
that they made, but it was true. And going from that to working on our next game, we needed to sort of like take a little bit of time to think about how we wanted to approach the second game and how we wanted to do some of the things that we thought we could have done better the second time around better.
So what did you learn from making that first game that like now helps you kind of like make this game? Because obviously, I would assume that making your first game massively informs you what you're going to do the next time.
We had no idea what we were doing. We had no idea what we were doing, but we were really determined, and we were doing it every day, which was kind of cool. The main thing is a lot of the stuff that this game is built on are really from the first game. So I mentioned we wrote our own networking library. So this game doesn't use any sort of like off-the-shelf networking library. It's something that we wrote ourselves, and it's very specific for this game. So like the gameplay that you're seeing here on the screen is like really snappy and responsive, and it feels that way for all the players.
Even if you're queuing into somebody else's game, if you're not the host.
Yeah. If you're not the host, it's just as because it's sort of like an interesting like take on mixed authority for how the gameplay decides if certain things happen, which is something that I would say would probably be a little bit more difficult to wrap your head around or do properly if you didn't write the networking library or you didn't have access to the code base, which
Sure.
isn't like generally the case for a lot of people making games. So
Yeah.
anyways, the main thing is we made that first game and we knew we could do things that were really hard, and we knew we had to do another thing that was really hard, and make what we thought is going to be a really great game that people love. There's still a lot to go, so it's hard for me to talk about it and act like we're done or we've made it anywhere. I really hope people enjoy it. I enjoy it. The people on the team love it. It's gotten to the point where we play it at night on our free time, and there's a couple of guys at my company that'll like post speedrun videos of themselves at night playing the game. If anyone can post a video, the fastest developer speedrun is 4 minutes, and that's not game time. That's not game time. That's like the
in-game time.
Full video time. Yeah.
Yeah, the
so
actual video itself.
Yeah. So the in-game
shit.
timer over there, we have like a run timer, and it stops when you're making decisions.
Yeah.
We didn't want you to feel pressure to go through the menus really quick. I don't even know where we started with this question.
No.
I think we started with what games do I play, and I said one game.
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, so real quick, though, before you talk more about that, you can play multiplayer right now, though, right?
Yeah, you can play multiplayer right now.
Okay, so you can play multiplayer right now. All right, that's good.
Yeah, multiplayer. Yeah, the full game is there. You can, everything that's like happening in this video, you can play. You can do the progression. You can play every character, use every weapon, every ability. It's just the first biome. So, like in terms of, but we made the biome a little longer than it's going to be in the full release to not make it so you're just playing through 5
There's like a couple
rooms.
Extra floors.
Yeah, there's like a couple extra floors in it. The full game is going to be roughly 4 biomes with some secrets and other stuff in it.
Sure.
That I won't get too far into, and they each are going to have a really distinct visual feel. This first one is a forest. It's called the Whirl Forest. It's you want your first biome, even though our games it's like definitely a really dark, like grimdark comic style. To feel like sort of like comfortable, like whenever you play the first biome in a game, I feel like it's the place you really want to like stretch your legs out.
It's dark but appealing.
Yeah. And then we had the later biomes are the ones that are really spooktastic.
Okay, and so you're talking about like the different biomes, and like obviously each game has like a different type of artistic theme. Like, what's like the artistic theme for this game?
Oh my gosh, I have the art Bible right here.
Okay.
It's Hellboy by Mike Mignola.
All right.
So, we, my art director, who's just absolutely incredible, is, from the beginning, I play like sort of like edgelord video games. I don't know if that's clear. So a style like this was really appealing to me. And
like Devil May Cry, stuff like that? I
don't play Devil May Cry. There are people on my team that do.
Okay.
I feel like Dota's pretty edgelord, like Sekiro. The Souls-like games are less so now. They're a little bit more.
Maybe Elden Ring. It's a little bit. Yeah. Okay, I got it. All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm trying to think of the games I played most recently, other than my own game.
Right.
I had to play around the Balatro hype. I played a couple rounds of that. Wasn't really my cup of tea. No offense. It's a fantastic game though.
Yeah.
I'm in love with Slice and Dice right now. I don't know if it's like a dice roguelike.
So you've played a lot of roguelikes.
Yeah. I played a lot of roguelikes. I played a lot of not rogue. A lot of non-roguelikes too, I suppose. I don't know. Let me see what my Steam library looks like. I'll jog my memory over here.
Yeah. So, like, what do you think separates? Like, obviously, this game is multiplayer, which is like a huge thing. Can you give me like one or two other things that like would really separate Sworn from other types of roguelike games that are in the genre?
Yeah. So I definitely think multiplayer is the first obvious one. You already said that.
Yeah.
I think that the next thing is just the people who are building this um, are we're sort of similar in the things that we love. Like we
Hmm.
really love the moment to moment elements of the game, and we really want to just focus on the parts of it, the art style and that we feel most passionately that we can be the best at.
Yeah.
So the game, uh, uh, I think and is certainly planned to be much sort of deeper on the sort of like character progression and blessings than some of the other games in the industry.
Hmm.
So in this announcement build, there's I think 230 unique blessings right now that you can get on
Oh,
the character.
okay.
Um, in the final release version of Hades, there's 176. Not counting the chaos ones. So I think there's actually like 100 like 90. I don't want someone to fact check me here and like Sam just like made something up to make his game look better.
Uh-huh.
But there's a lot. There's a lot. There's more like per category in our game than I think a lot of the competitor games. So and the game is really hard.
Hmm.
So I think it really forces player creativity, which like that's what I love in games. Is like you sort of like lose and you're creative, not because you've already beaten it and like that's the only thing that like left to do with the game, but because you're trying to be creative so you can win in the first place. Um, and I think that's something really special with our game. There's also a ton of like designed co-op features. So you can see right here, the person I'm in a session with is dead, and they're like this
Yeah.
little spirit orb, so they get to help you fight when they're dead, so they're not.
So
I
they
thought
can
that was
help
really
you
cool.
fight even whenever they're dead. Wait. Oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
thought
So
that was
this
a
blue thing
cool.
is Oh my God.
Yeah,
It's
so
like their
that's another
spirit.
person. Yeah, they're like controlling that, and that sort of like hooks a little bit into the lore of the game, which I am reticent to talk too much about it because I think of like our game and the story behind it more of like, it's like written to be a mythology.
Yeah, yeah, of
So
course.
there's this story of a world. So
Hmm.
a big way that it's different than a lot of other like roguelikes and popular narrative driven games is that a lot of those games tell like a character story, like a
Yeah,
very personal story. It's a story about like a son and a mother or, you know, two friends growing up together or
naturally.
whatever, right? Yeah, our game is more like sort of games from the Souls genre
Hmm.
where um, you're in this sort of really rich, detailed world, and we want to expose you to a cool mythology, and we have a really cool spin on what I think a an already sort of familiar story is for people. So I hope people will get to enjoy that. I mean, the narrative exposition is not really designed to be the draw of this game.
Yeah,
Asynchronous storytelling is like a super hard problem, and
sure.
it's not the one that I or my team is really trying to solve with this game. Um, but we might experiment with some stuff in that realm. I think there are some games that do it really. I
Hmm.
think Dungeon of the Endless does it really well, where like that's not even a co-op game, but you have the multiple characters and they like talk to each other between the levels when you lift. I think that's really cool. Sorry, I'm just rambling over here.
No, no, I like that a
Um,
lot too, because like it's kind of like that spontaneous storytelling that like Overwatch has this, right? In like pre-game lobbies where like the characters will talk to each other. And then
yeah,
also Elden Ring has it, and like Dark Souls games have it. So yeah, no, I think that really you're totally right. I mean, and like
yeah,
those little kind of almost like Easter egg spontaneous events for like a story, I think make it a little bit more compelling and it makes it more interesting for a player sometimes. People that at least care about it.
yeah.
Hmm.
The other sort of main thing that's going to be different is the difficulty modes themselves. So
Yeah.
that's not in this build, but um, I really for someone that is passionate about difficulty and sort of like feats, uh, as I am,
Yeah.
I want it to be really hard. Like I and not really hard in the sense that you know if you get enough progression you can beat it. Like really
Uh-huh.
hard in the sense that you know not everyone is intended to win,
Mm.
which I'm okay with that as long as there's certain modes that it is designed so that everyone can win at. And
Yeah,
if
sure.
that's not your cup of tea to try to like, push yourself to win in that setting, that's totally fine. But there's something about our game and like the crispness of it that it's really fun to watch someone that's mastered it. In my opinion, I love watching myself play the game. I feel like that's like a weird thing to say out loud now that I think about it.
I've watched
But
my own videos before. Don't worry.
yeah, I've watched some of yours recently, so
Very much
the
appreciated. Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand that. And so, like, obviously, if you're playing multiplayer, does like health scale up? Does anything else scale or change? Like, for example, are there more projectiles? Are there more mobs that spawn, or is it the same mobs with more health? How does that work?
yeah. So in multiplayer, there is a few things that are different
Oh,
right now. One, there's the spirit mechanic, which doesn't
yeah.
exist in single player because if you're dead, you're dead. Um, Obviously, there's like enemy scaling. That's like sort of
Mm-hmm.
table stakes for multiplayer, I think. Um, there is so I mentioned that there's sort of like three systems that are going to be coming into the game between what we have now and people can play with this announced build,
Yeah.
which I'm really excited for people to play the announced build
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's awesome. One of the systems is sort of focuses on co-op moment to moment. I won't go too far into it because we haven't tested enough for me to be confident that that's going to be what the final solution is.
Sure.
But there's going to be another sort of co-op moment-to-moment thing that's really going to be available in single player.
Okay.
There's also certain blessings and mechanics in the game that are only accessible to player right now. So you can get like specific blessings where,
Yeah. Give me an example.
so they're called like round table blessings, and you get them based on the how far in a specific sort of fey,
Mm-hmm.
or like you can think about it as like color. So you see like someone interacts with the banner, and then there's like more than one category that they choose to upgrade from. So if your team is spec far enough into a specific color, then someone on your team might get offered a blessing, and it has like a special round table tag on it, and it goes into that round tray or the round slot on the tray on the right hand side,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a team wide bonus that you get in your run if like your run is sort of role playing a certain like build, right?
Can you give me an
It would be like
example? Yeah. Give me an example of what they do.
yeah. So there's one that makes it so I think the frost one is sort of like um, it's like typical frost mechanic in a game where it slows enemies. You can get sort of second tier mechanics like freeze and some other stuff. But the round table blessing for that is based off of the idea that it's like more to debuff and you're kiting enemies, and it gives everyone on your time sort of like logarithmically ramping damage the longer that the room goes on. So like the longer you stall the fight, the stronger your teams get. Right?
Okay. Okay.
And there's sort of like a really strong global player bonus that you can get if everyone is sort of like stepping the same direction. But that's also not the only way you can play the game.
Mm-hmm.
You can get bonuses for like, mixing the colors. That was
Do you have
really
like
inspiring.
evolutions, like like Vampire Survivors has like weapon evolutions? Do you have things like that kind of, or like the Daedalus hammer in Hades?
Yes, so that is the
Really?
third
Okay.
system that is not. That's the third system that's not in this build.
Mm-hmm.
It's already built, but it's not. It's not in this build. And I think that's really going to take sort of the replayability to the next level. I don't know how to like. I play the game a lot, and I'm like, I really wish I could get like a blessing right now. So,
Right. Yeah.
I really want it to feel like, or I guess the sort of way we describe the upgrades when we're
Mm-hmm.
building them is not everything needs to be good or equal, but everything needs to have a place, right? And the thing about weapon blessings is they can give other things a place in the game, right? So like
Yeah.
you have like a really fast weapon, like you have like dual daggers or something, and it doesn't really make sense to go like something that's like a big hit focus thing in our game, like the flame category is more for like heavy weapons.
Yeah.
But maybe you can get a weapon blessing that sort of changes your attack pattern to give flame a place on that build, and it's
Uh-huh.
not something you should try to do every game. But maybe you played a run and the game decided to do those choices, and you get to win or lose or play with something really unconventional, but it sort of works. That's really what I want the goal of those things to be.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, it's not in this build, so it's like I want to under promise here and over deliver.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really
I
excited
understand.
about it. Like, yeah. The last thing I want is for me to come to you and like say we're.
Oh yeah, this is gonna
certain
happen.
things
And
are
then
gonna
it
be
comes
fun,
out, and
then
then people
yeah.
link the clip of you saying it, and then it not happening. Yes, I'm very familiar with that. I spend a lot of time doing that myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone on my team already
Hmm.
deal with. And people are like, I'm sure they're like watching. They're like saying they'll promise anything they do.
So whenever you announced this game and you showed it at GDC, what was the first reception to it? What was the reaction?
Um, so the game was totally different. And this was like 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
It was more of like a looter where it was like actually pretty similar to Borderlands,
Okay.
where you would kill enemies and they would drop like different weapons, and the weapons would already have things on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, things have really morphed over time, and we've really chased like the fun in the game. People loved it. Honestly, we got, I think, 6 different publishers expressed interest in publishing the game,
Wow.
which I don't have experience doing this, but that felt like a lot.
Yeah.
We sort of were considering 2 at the very end of the process,
Mm-hmm.
and we're really happy that Team 17 saw our vision in the game and was willing to help us build it. And they let me build this fantastic team. Worked really hard on this thing, and I'm really excited to see where we're able to take it, and I hope people end up loving it. The I know people will. So,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of games like this. I think there's just a huge audience of people who really like these kinds of games. And so, like, any time that a new one comes out, and especially, like, you seem like, you said your favorite game is Sekiro. And so, like, really, you seem like a gameplay kind of guy. No janky bullshit. And so, if people see a game like this that plays well and that is very clean, I think that there's going to be a huge amount of appreciation for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really what we're something that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Is like um it's not necessarily how good your idea is, it's how well you execute it. Like,
Very true.
if you're really committed to something and you like really just like pour your heart into executing it really well, even if it's really dopey. I think that's sort of even what the word based means. Right? Like, you're just committed
Despite
enough to
all
it,
odds. Yeah.
even though it's like a little bit cringe, you're committed
Yeah.
to it enough that like it's like you flip the dial over and
Uh-huh.
it goes from being cringe to awesome, right?
Yep.
I felt that way when I watched Dune Part 2 super recently.
Yeah.
The very first scene with the jetpacks. Like, that is the most dopey thing in the world, but they made it so awesome in that I was like, oh yeah, this is sweet.
Yeah, it's like at a certain point you can just let it go and just like, stop worrying about what people think and just, enjoy it for what it is, even if it's goofy. Yeah,
Yes.
no, I definitely understand that. Yeah, no, I honestly, it looks pretty interesting. You have these enemies, and these are they like mini bosses, like this big turtle that's jumping around?
Yeah,
How does that
so
work?
there's so sort of like in Slay the Spire, so you get with the room choices. I think our room combat is a little bit. It's one of the best parts about our game.
Uh-huh.
You will oftentimes get like an elite choice, which will sort of give you increased rewards,
Mhm.
and then there's also sort of elites that spawn in the room, which are different than mini bosses. There have been a couple of mini boss fights on the video that we've seen. Or
Yeah.
boss. But there's sort of like a gradation of enemies. There's like normal mobs,
Mhm.
elite mobs, mini bosses, and bosses. And yeah, I think that having sort of more of those choices for players to choose to do harder things. Come on, you always have to take the elite room. Like, if you take
Well,
the elite
yeah, because
What do you
usually because the
do?
elite room
What do
gives
you
you more
do?
rewards.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Duh. No doubt.
Yeah. I think that was sort of inspired by the Slay the Spire
Mhm.
map. It just seemed like an obvious thing to do. You just have to do it well.
Ooh, I just
and-
saw you resurrect somebody. How does resurrections work in multiplayer?
So in multiplayer, so you have the spirit that follows an ally when they're dead.
Yeah.
You can actually, so the spirit has 3 abilities. It has a ground pound, a ranged attack, and then the actual inspiration for the spirit was, when you die in most multiplayer games, you get follow cam on another player.
Mm-hmm.
So we were sort of thinking, what if this was like an in-universe mechanic, and it wasn't just like follow cam? Like, you're a spirit that follows people, and one of your abilities is essentially switching the person you're following.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the spirit jumps, so you can't see it here because there's only 2 players, but if you die in 4 player and there's 3 living players, you can press sort of space or I think it's right bumper on controller, and the spirit goes up in the air and does like a little flourish, and then it like floats over to a different player, and you're like linked to another player, and it's sort of
Okay.
a version of like follow cam, but it's also active. And then the way the revive works is you finish a room, and then the spirit sort of dives into the ground, and there's an interactable that spawns, so you can interact with it. And you sort of have three options right now for how you can revive a player. You can
Uh-huh.
sacrifice your max health, you can pay gold, and if you don't have either of those, you can take a max health curse for your entire team.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Okay.
reason being is like we don't want the like if the run is losing and it's spiraling and like you get into the next room and you die immediately and you're watching your friend struggle really slowly in a corner trying to kite enemies for 20 minutes to beat each room.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's our version of like just put him out of his misery.
Just
They're
end it.
losing in
Yeah.
their yeah. You're losing in the run.
Hmm.
Like you should start over and like have a new like creative, more fun experience than this one.
But like if you're not
Um,
losing, like the focus and like the goal is to try to get people to play, like to be playing together, right? You don't want to have like
yeah,
people sitting there in spirit form for the whole time watching one guy go through the rest of
yeah,
it.
yeah, yes. So
Yeah.
yeah, so you revive every single room.
Hmm.
You don't revive at full health. There's like certain meta upgrades that do certain things with that. I mean, we're interested in for the people that are watching this. This is not me promising that we're going to build something.
Uh-huh.
But you know, something that we've thought is cool is like maybe there could be upgrades or certain shrines that you interact with that spirit really good, and like we actually had some playtesters play the game, and there's this girl and she was saying, "Man, like I love playing as the spirit. I would. Can there be a mode where I'm just the spirit?" And you know, maybe there's a build that we
Like a
make that
round table
lets you-
blessing for that?
Yeah, maybe there's a build that
Yeah.
let you focus on where like you actually have a bunch of like retaliation abilities where like you have a bunch of like damage reflect and stuff
Like
and then your
thorns.
spirit, your
Yeah.
spirit is really strong, so you're sort of like going in there and like trying to die and then you use your spirit and like maybe that's a strategy. I don't know, that's obviously like not built that
I really I love
but
the
that's
idea
a
of builds
cool
like that.
idea to
Yeah.
me. Yeah, it's a lot to do.
Hmm.
Oh, I see some people asking about what platforms this is on. This is the announce is just PC, but we're going to be on PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. Cross fingers over here.
I mean, maybe this is too early to ask. Is there gonna be crossplay?
I don't think there's going to be crossplay. I feel like there's like someone somewhere in a room that's like, don't answer that question. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Not sure, but okay. Yeah. All right. That's fine.
yeah, you know, it really depends on what we think makes sense. You know, Steam is just like a really great developer product, so it makes updating the game and like having that sort of fragmented version of it be sort of ahead of everything else and be really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you sort of bring consoles into the fold and crossplay, it sort of like changes the game in terms of like the way you actually develop it and you make changes and like how fast you can be. So I think it really depends. You know, if it's something that players really want and it makes sense for us to do, sure. But
it just depends on what happens. Playing it by ear, see what people like, etc. No, I think all that makes sense.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And I don't know what I'm weighing it against, right? Like, is the choice like I make 10 more bosses or I spend the next 4 months of my life doing crossplay? Like, which one do players actually want more?
Yeah.
I don't really know. And I think, getting further and seeing more people play is really going to answer that question for us. And I think we're really just going to build what people actually want the most. So that's my...
I think that's the
question.
smart, prudent, just like common sense answer. No, I get that definitely. Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say that before we wrap everything up, if you had to kind of like give people just an understanding, like what would you say that Sworn is as a game?
That is a good question. Sworn is a really tight skill-based action RPG that like really rewards you for being creative and really facilitates it as well. Like everything is fully composable. Part of what we've done is, you know, like in a game like Hades, like your spell is always the same, and there's only certain elements. You know, every attack on your character you can swap out for something else, so you can really make something that you feel like is special, and share that if that's something that you want to share. But I think really just the creativity and difficulty of it is what is the real allure from a gameplay perspective. And I have to mention that it's also just really pretty to look at. It's, you know, it takes itself seriously, and I think that we want to also make something that's really cool. Like the boss right there. If you go back just 1 second, we have this animation where he just like smacks his chest like he's like, "Come at me." You know.
Yeah, I think
like
this
that.
boss is badass. By the way, reminds me a lot of like Vulcan and like Lost Ark. I love it.
And yeah, I mean that's what the game is. I just we really want to just make something excellent and skill based multiplayer action roguelike. Go try it. It's free.
So trying it right now is free.
Yeah, it's totally free.
Okay.
If you wishlist our game, that's like the best way. That if you think it's cool, you can help it, you know, go further. Ultimately, when it comes out in 2020, it's going to cost money because I need to feed myself.
The game will cost money to play. Wow, what a surprise! How novel.
Yeah, when it's released, but right now it's free. You know.
Go
play it, and if you have fun playing it, please just take a second to wishlist it on Steam. You know, it's just a second of your time. You're not, you know, hurting anyone else. You're just helping us, you know, to make something better and show other people that are looking inwards like these people are making something cool. And the more obvious that is to other people that maybe don't play games as much as you or I, like I can play my game and I can say this is really cool. Yeah. But there's a lot of people sort of more like business minded that can look at my game and they're like, is this cool? I don't know.
I know that all too well. Yes, I understand that.
And like the best way to like sort of like send signal is just wishlisting the game or talking about it, or you know, that will really help.
What he's trying to say, guys, is that wishlisting the game helps people that don't understand games understand that other people who do understand games like the game. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
There it is.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think that's accurate?
I would say yes, absolutely. Because like a wish list, like what's the conversion rate? It's like 80% in a lot of cases. Yeah. That's like usually what I hear referenced. It's very, very good. And so yeah, 100%. It's reasonable. If people are gonna pre-order or wish list something, of course that's indicative of sales. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
Cool.
Well, anyway, man, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And this is Samuel Leonard. You're the game director, right? Of Sworn?
Yep. Yeah, I'm the game director of Sworn at Windwalk Games. There's 11 other fantastic people that also helped make this, so it's not just me.
Right.
I'm sure they're all really appreciative that you know, we were able to do this interview and stuff. Thanks, Asmongold.
Absolutely.
You said my first and last name. I don't even know.
It's just Asmon. Yeah, it's Asmon. Zach is fine. Zach is good.
Zach Rar?
Yeah, Zach Rar. How about that? Yeah, it's good enough.
Do you have a fictional last name? Is it Rar?
We can just do Rar. Rar is fine.
All right, Mr. Rar.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for coming on and doing the interview. The game, guys, is Sworn. You can take a look at it in the pinned comment as well. Wishlist the game on Steam, and there it is. Thank you very much, man. And I'll stop taking up too much of your time. You guys can get ready and start working on the game.
Keep working on it.
Yep, that's right.
It started a long time ago.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll tune into the stream.
Absolutely.
If you play it, you have to send me a message. I don't watch. I don't have your stream on 24/7, unfortunately. But if you do,
that's because you're actually working. Yeah, I know. That's good.
Yes, that is sad truth.
Okay, well, I definitely will, man. Thanks a
All
lot,
right.
and I'll see you later, dude.
See you later.
All right, peace. There it is. Yeah, game was fun. Yeah, what'd you guys think of the game? Yeah. This capped. He has 20k hours in Dota. Oh, yeah, yeah, that is true. Yeah, there it is. And great game, very fun. Yeah, exactly. Sworn. Let me make sure I'll link it for you guys one more time. And then we'll take a look at some other stuff. I wanted to show this and get into that. Found a platform. Yeah, it's literally a free game. So, like, there it is.